following is a special presentation. From the Captain Esports Network.
For the second time this season, the All-American Cup Series presented by Harpoon Designs goes Superspeedway racing tonight. It is Talladega Superspeedway, and we are ready to go for the Thompson Designs 249 here at the former Alabama International Raceway. I am the captain. A little bit of a late start today, but that's okay. We're ready to go here for some racing. Qualifying actually is kicking off right now as we get ready for the 94-lap event. The great news is, obviously, with the 2 laps of qualifying, you get the throwaway lap and stuff here. But we've got a lot to cover. Obviously, we got the warm-up coming up here in just moments, and we'll get a word in with Justin Thompson and get you a recap of the points and where we sit as we enter this race here tonight at Talladega. Obviously, you see the cars are out there getting ready to go. You see the 29 heading out on track right now to get his qualifying run underway. And as I bring this up, remember, a reminder, I should say, the points, as always, presented by Mike Husby Designs. And you might hear something here in a second. Just FYI, I'm going to click over here to something. shouldn't be muted. What happened? Did I mute myself? What in the world? Oh, that's a good start. Hello! Yeah, apparently I swapped scenes and it screwed everything up. But anyways, appreciate everybody joining us. I am here. I'm the captain. We get you ready for Talladega. Trust me, all I've been doing is going through all the standings and qualifying and stuff like that. Kyle Ether winning the pole, presented by Harpoon Designs. And appreciate everybody joining us here from Talladega this evening. It is the Thompson Designs 249 here at Talladega. Carrington qualifying second behind Kyle Ether, who I was about to pull up to the booth before I realized that y'all weren't hearing me. But it is what it is. We're here and ready to go. So let's get Kyle Ether up here, and then we'll talk with Justin Thompson here momentarily before we go trackside for the anthem. As Kyle wins the pole for the race. Kyle Ether, you got a copy, bud?
Yeah, what's up, Chris?
Good, man. Congratulations on the Mike Husby Designs Pole Award.
Thank you. Yeah, first pole award here in All Americans. That's pretty cool. I'm shocked. Usually I'm pretty lame at super speedway qualifying, and I was really fast. So hopefully that bodes well for tonight.
What can we expect tonight? Because obviously a little bit of a modified setup for the draft. You've had time to run laps out there. How are we feeling?
Well, as someone who did not make it a lap at Daytona,
I just want to see
I didn't really I don't really know what it did last time, but I think it kind of feels the same, sort of. I had damage, obviously, when I was back out there, so I don't know exactly. But I think you could push pretty much everywhere except the corners. Definitely going to see some guys getting loose, I think, off the corners, because it seems like the car wants to suck up right before you get off the corner. And in practice, we were spinning guys out a lot because of that. So hopefully mind our P's and Q's here and keep that stuff till the last fuel run.
Yeah, right. Well, great job tonight, man. Congratulations on winning the MHD Pole Award.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Kyle Ether, pole sitter here this evening with iRacing. And we'll see what they can do here this evening in the race. But right now, we are going to go trackside for the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, anthem in the books. Let's get you ready for the Thompson Designs 249 as we show you the starting lineup here. 31 cars. Going to take the green flag, it looks like, with Kyle Ether scoring the pole alongside Casey Carrington. Maybe this will be a luck changer for him, as when he wins the pole, normally doesn't finish well. We'll see how that goes. Craig Martin, Mark Whitley there, row 2. Of course, Whitley and McCorder, the Harpoon Designs team, had the race at Daytona pretty much a stranglehold on the lead before McCorder went to victory lane in that race. There's Thompson right there, row 3 with McCorder. Sean Cassidy, Brandon Markuski's season debut for him starts 8th. Steve Henning, Josh Dillon in row 5. Matthew Weeks, Carson George. there in row number 6. Row 7, Nick Leo, Stephen Miles, Mike Husby, Steve Melnick, Dylan Rosenberg, Victor Fluger, Austin Bloom and James Silvers there, row 10. Colin Curlis and Sean Dunaway, row 11. Davis Warren and Brad Delph there in row number 12. Row 13, Christopher Heller, Toby Keith, Jake Bonoski, Kyle Hall, Chris Lewis, Mike Mallon. Lewis started dead last in Daytona and about won the race, by the way. And Nick Terrell, 31st. After his top 3 finish last week, his best finish getting up it by 2 tonight here in Dega. Race information tonight, 94 laps, which is right around 250 miles-ish, but 249, the advertised distance. 75 degrees, 54% humidity, overcast skies, 6-mile-an-hour winds. And, of course, you can check out the All-American Cup Series presented by Harpoon Designs on Facebook and be a part of their league. Track temp sitting at 93 right now, as you're going to see some interesting racing here. The car going to have a little rear-end squat to her, trying to create bump drafting down the straightaways, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to pull it off. So you got to be careful with it. As pace car pulls in, and the field comes to the green flag at Talladega, the Thompson Designs 249. Cameras tonight presented by TrackCams22.com. You check them out online on Facebook and the iRacing forums at TrackCams22.com. As these cars get up to song, probably going to see some learning from a lot of these guys, as a few of them pulled the old LA Dodgers 5th inning crowd move, kind of like I did tonight, because, well, I guess my body said it wanted to take a very long nap today. And, well, when your body says to take a nap, you take a nap. So, that's what we did. As the two of Ethier, that gold Rusty Wallace throwback, leading them into the tri-oval for the first time, but Carrington getting a push from Mark Whitley and McCord as they come across the start-finish line. It will be Carrington leading lap number 1. And the good news is we've already made it farther than we did at Daytona before the caution came out, so that could be a promising sign. Rod watching, saying good luck to Steven. Appreciate you joining us, Marcy. Aaron Thomas, as per usual, and then the racers who were hanging out before the race. Thank you, Casey, for letting me know I was muted. So, for those who didn't notice, you might have seen the countdown clock on there. For some reason, when that got done, it flipped over to another scene on my screen, which was interesting. And when it did that, of course, that scene was set up for another series. Each one of my scenes are for a different series. And it went to that, and my microphone came live, and well, when I swapped back, my microphone was muted, and there we are, so on and so forth. Hope that makes sense. Anyways, that's why the first half of the broadcast, you just see photos and a live look at each other. Already seeing Stephen Miles trying to get that top side working with Davis Warren in that 70 car. Not sure if that's a purposely white and black number 70, but we're going to make sure our paints are good to go here real quickly, because sometimes you get those late guys in here, so you might see a couple cars turn white real quick. I learned to disable paints after the race started, because for some reason it just tries to reload paints in the middle of the race. So 2x2 everybody right now, as you see McCorder side draft off the 9, and 3 laps complete here so far. Field kind of spread out a little bit. I talked about the difference you're seeing from the qualifying to the race setup out here. The car's got that, the back end. It's not as bad as it was at Daytona, where they looked like they were going to drag the back. It looked like Toe Mater when he goes and squats down there in cars and the back end is dragging. That's what it looked like in Daytona, but now they've kind of evened it out. A lot of practices. Mallon with some issues in the back, in trouble, and caution. Chris Lewis involved. Austin Bloom amongst a couple cars involved, and we got a wreck on lap number 3. And Lewis, who finished second in the Daytona race, I see some damage on that 111 car. Let's see what happens. Back here with Thompson, there's Lewis, there's Jake Vanoski in the 7 car. Oh, the 29 comes up in front of the 7 and the 17 of Alyssa Silvers. The 01, kind of a small, big one here. 29 made a late move in front of the 7, and with the way the draft works here, the 7 had a run and sent Kerplowy right into the rear. Get a crash cam up on this. Mallon gets that run on Kyle Hall. As you see, the 7's got a run here. Oh, you know what? He had to check up and moved up the track. Melnick doing a good job missing. That's just one of those kind of, you just got to be aware of what's around you. And unfortunately, you can't avoid a move like that when somebody just comes up in front of you after checking up. We'll show it one more time here, and got a couple of cars coming to pit road, not many. We're going to slow it down here for you in a second. Watch Mallon here. You see he gets to a run on Hall here, and he kind of checks up so you don't run him over. Problem is when he checks up, he moves up the track, and Vanoski's got a pretty big run on him. And he's going to slide down into the 17 of Silvers, and Lewis with some kind of weird net code thingy going on. Get some rear end damage, and the 45 goes through the Bucky's car. And here comes the Catman. And then Nick Terrell, who just finished in the top 3 last week at Road Atlanta. Getting damage in this whole thing. As caution comes out here for the first time. All right, Justin Thompson, actually about half the field ended up coming to pit road here, a little more than half. Coming in to top off the fuel cell, Joseph McOrder winning that race off of pit road there. He is in 9th. Of course, he's the winner here from Daytona earlier this season, where he and Whitley again, he and Jonathan Smith was a part of that race too. Pretty much had this race on lockdown the whole entire time, and they were able to finish it off, even though a big wreck at the end. And of course, there's 28 others in this race tonight that want to change that result, including the man right here that has sponsored the race this evening. And that is his driver of the 3 car, Justin Thompson. And we're going to bring him up here and talk to him as we'll get one to go this time by, likely.
The 1.
Thompson, you got a copy?
Yeah, buddy.
I told you I was going to bring you up here at first caution. But, hey, man, so obviously tonight you have decided to sponsor the race with the old Talladega logo. And thankfully we get the old Talladega look still at this track. But obviously, let's talk a little bit. What's this Thompson Designs about? Is this paint schemes that you do for yourself and stuff? Or what's this all about?
Do what now?
Your
So you're going to have to do that again.
Your sponsor. You're sponsoring the race. Thompson Designs?
Yeah.
What is Thompson
Yeah, buddy.
Designs?
Just a graphic art company. I do sim racing wraps. I do real wrap. I create logos for local businesses. You know, just do graphic work.
And you like to paint yourself Dale schemes?
Well, I mean, you know, for this era car, yeah.
Well, talk about the setup. You and Casey and a bunch of others have been in practice rooms trying to get this thing right. Not that it wasn't right the first time, but trying to make it better, I guess would be the right way to word it. How are we feeling about tonight, and how's this car drafting?
Car draft's pretty good. I mean, if the front gets single filed out, it's going to be hard to keep up. I mean, I kind of messed around with some aero balance on the car to get it to do things more along the lines of what this car used to do, what it used to race like, and you know, just I wanted the car to have the nose up to where we could bump draft, but I wanted it to sink down in the corners as well. So, it's doing that. And I mean, that's probably what brought this caution out, was somebody was pushing in the corner with the nose sunk down on the track.
Well, obviously, still got plenty of laps to go here tonight. You got yourself that win at Auto Club. Let's see if you can go get one in your sponsored race.
Hey, man, I'm just back here playing, dude. It's plate track.
That's right. That's what we do for about, let's see, 94 laps, about 90 of them. So.
Yeah, buddy.
Best of luck, bud.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Justin Thompson, the sponsor of tonight's race. We like to give each other a little picking, a little jabs at each other and stuff. But apparently couldn't hear me there early, but all good. All right, so we're going to come back to the green flag at lap number 7 as Barkuski, the 2511 team, out front. "22 viewers strong." Appreciate all of you for watching here this evening on the Captain Esports Network as we go back racing. Casey Carrington there on the outside in the white and red black number 9 Dodge. The 09, the Michael Waltrip looking paint. Down on the bottom side there, that is Tobin Keefe. Kyle Ethier, Christopher Heller there on the outside. There's Mike Husby, who has a Talladega win. And at 19 to 12 of Josh Dillon, a part of this pack. There's that bump drafting going on. As you see, what happens basically is with the car up in the air in the front, it drops the rear end down and it allows it to kind of match up with the front end, which has been the issue with this car. Normally it lifts up the front end. By the car squatting down, it basically keeps you from getting under the rear end and picking it back up and spinning the car around is basically what this setup does. Ooh, getting tight there in the middle. Craig Martin, Steve Henning, and then McCorder there in the middle is Josh Dillon. Aborts, he's going to go to the back. You'll get cars that'll do that. Looks like Henning's going to go to the back, and here comes a run from Barkuski up the inside from the 09. Heller trying to get that outside line rolling. And a big Heller to Mrs. Patty, who might be watching here tonight. Usually is here checking out her son and seeing how he's doing in a race, but you see everybody just kind of putting themselves in a spot where they can be comfortable tonight and get to the finish of this race, because to get to the finish, you have to survive. Guys looking at about 200 to 205 miles an hour down the turn 1 right now as Colin Curlis comes to pit road. Not sure what this is about. Might be a passing penalty or something at the green flag, as he was real quick in and out, stop and go penalty for the 54. Austin Bloom, the only car a lap down after the incident there. There she is, as always, watching. Appreciate you. It's a family affair when in the Heller household. On board with Whitley as he rides behind his teammate there to 73. Under 97 miles an hour down that back straightaway. Wonder if there must be a headwind down the back. Let's watch the speed. Yeah, you can look at the speed pickup here on the front straight, and they've got a big run top side here. Well, maybe not, because the speed's staying pretty consistently here. As McCorder might have led that lap. See the air just kind of moving these cars around. David Travis Warren in that white and black number 70 car. You see Matthew Weeks in the 11 up there. Matthew's got himself a super speedway win at Daytona, loves his style of racing. By 3, 4 rows deep. That's where you see that 92 or 82 car, Victor Fluger, that red and white car. Back there with Melnick, and Lewis is back up in this pack now after getting involved in that wreck. So as long as you get that car cleaned up, you don't have any engine damage, you can destroy this car all you want to, and you'll be fine at the end of the race. That's Nick Terrell, who was just involved in that wreck, and there's the 45 they're catching. He's going to go to the apron, get out of the way of Austin Bloom. Unfortunately, he might have some engine damage. That's why that car, plus the nose, is all crinkled up. Catching Colin here pretty quickly as Ethier gets pushed out to the front. Outside line kind of dying off a little bit there. Colin going to go to the top side, and you'll see the field come storming on by here in a second. Speed difference here of about 15 miles an hour as they go into the corner. As they put the 54 lap down. So 64% fuel is what they run on the super speedways. That is the rule here of All-American in the Cup Series presented by Harpoon Design. And that basically is kind of set up to be like the old, if you remember the mid-2000s, NASCAR had the issue with the big wrecks. And, well, they've always had issues with the big wrecks, but they tried to make a move to separate the field during pit stops. So what they did was they shrunk down to the, I believe it was 13.5 gallon fuel cells, if I remember correctly. And at 64% basically is about that number. And that's kind of what they've done in this series. So you're not going to see the long runs here before you get to pit stops. You're going to have to pit probably very quickly in this race, especially with a green flag. Now with this car and the way these guys are able to push each other, it's going to pretty much eliminate any kind of a huge split. But if this field stays green the rest of the way, you could see it. As Ethier now is going to bail out and go to the back with his teammates. As there's the 25-11 tandem of Heller pushing Barkowski to the front. How about that 29? Remember the guy that was pretty much at the start of that wreck at the caution. He's now that first car in the middle lane. Big shout out to Joseph Penn, by the way, who was back after missing last week. From what I read in chat, he was missed a lot by certain people. Oh, Whitley. Oh, Whitley. Stuck up there on the outside wall, was able to get it off the wall. Just misjudged the corner or something going into turn one. So you got a pack of 27 cars out here running right now. Here's the back of it. And then you got Silvers, Henning, and Curlis all kind of separated out on their own, and Austin Bloom also. Those guys are going to need some help with the yellow to, one, get the damage fixed, but two, get on the lead lap and have a chance to survive a race like this. I mean, all you got to do is be on the lead lap, and you can win it. With Matthew Weeks, you see Stephen Miles to his inside. There's Whitley going by in the outside lane. This is one of those races where it is good to have a spotter in real life. And what I mean by that is I mentioned the driven team of Whitley and McWhorter. Those guys usually have somebody up top telling them, hey, this is your situation, this is what you got around you. If you have an app like the Crew Chief app or something like that, or even the iRacing apps, or the iRacing spotters, or the Dale Jr. app that you can use, or the Jimmy Johnson, Chad Knaus one, basically those, you only get certain audio clips. And you'll get, like right now, 2, 3 wide, but you're not seeing, or what it's not saying is the 8 is on your door, or 3's rolling back to you, or the 25's rolling back, or they're checking up in front of you. You don't hear any of that. You just hear your 3 wide. If you look around, you just got to kind of use your own judgment of what the pack is doing around you, where if you have a real-life spotter right now with you, like for instance, let's ride with Whitley. Whitley's like, okay, probably got a bump coming up to the 73, getting tight there to the bumper. 73's clear of the leader. Bump coming from the 29, you're now clear to the bottom, moves down. Third place moves down, and you get just different kind of wordings. Just kind of simulating what Mark is probably being told by Brantley, who usually is his spotter here tonight. And that can always be a misjudgment when it's over with, because of you kind of have to go off your own mirror to make a move and so on and so forth. But you see the inside line starting to kind of take over here a little bit as Whitley has pushed McWhorter to the front, the 29 up to third of Mike Mallon. But that 49 is Sean Cassidy getting pushed by Matthew Weeks here, 21 laps in the books. Big shout out to the viewers watching here tonight on the Captain Esports Network. If you're new tonight, hit that subscribe button. If you're not new, we appreciate you showing up and coming back and cheering on whoever you like to watch in this series, and hopefully see you around for more races into the future. You might have noticed, if you're one that's on YouTube a lot, there's the YouTube Shorts that they're called. It's like TikToks, if you will, but YouTube's edition of it. For the last 4 days, you might have noticed I've been doing some of kind of promoting the races and trying to think of some other things we can do to potentially build more viewership and get more awareness out there of all the series that we cover here on the Captain Esports Network. As into the wall goes the 85 of Carson George. Hard into the wall. And Casey Carrington with damage. Davis Warren with damage. So the points leader involved in this. And lap 21, let's see what happens here. I saw the 85 just dead right into the wall. Oh, he and Carrington got together. Oh, and Brad Delph with a T-bone. The 70 gets a little bit of damage. Lewis locks it up and goes to the grass. Let's get one more replay of this real quick and we'll get the pit road. I'm sure everybody's going to be in here for fuel and tires, at least fuel. Davis, a little bit of damage. He's going to be okay, I think. As long as you don't hurt the motor. Again, this car can be fixed. All right, still got a second before to get to pit road here, it looks like. So let's look one more time here. I see Carson is riding there behind Matthew Weeks. He's kind of going back and forth, up and down the track, and so on and so forth here. here. I mean, from that angle, it looks like Casey maybe comes down a little bit into the 85, but just a very tough call to make there in that situation. That's why Penn gets paid to do the job, so best of luck to him in that move there. As here come the leaders to pit road, as we will have pit stops here. There we go. And Craig Martin actually winning the race off pit road. McWhorter going to be second, Vinosky third. Whitley and Rosenberg your top 5 off of pit road here. As the Julio's number 22 leads this race. All right, 25 laps complete. All right, stepped away there for a quick second as we get ready to come to the green flag here at lap 26 of this 94-lap race. Joseph McWhorter leading. Jake Vinosky there on the outside. Mark Whitley third. Everybody came in for the most part fuel only. You did have a couple cars take some tires there under the pit stop, but we come back to the green flag here as McWhorter, with help from Mark Whitley, just like Daytona all over again here, leading this race. Carson George right now is taking his car behind the wall, unfortunately, and Carrington restarting back in 28th. Not sure of the damage on that 9 car. We're going to have to see, but not a good restart there if he does have damage. I can see the left front still pushed in a little bit, so he's going to need a little bit of help here. Still got plenty of racing to go. That's the good news here. As the field gets round up into turn 3 and 4. Outside line, Nick Terrell getting the push there from Nick Leo. The Nick and Nick show, it looks like. With Matthew Weeks and Barkuski up top there with Hellers. Got Steven Miles now with him. How about Dylan Rosenberg in that 91 car? Now joining the pack up here at the front along with Steve Melnick. Kyle Ethier also a part of this battle here. So as the energy starts to build back up here after the second caution of the night here at the virtual Talladega Speedway on iRacing. Appreciate everybody joining us here on the Captain Esports Network. Bunch of 7s up there in that inside row right now. The 73 of McCorder, the 77 of Whitley. That's exactly how they kind of ran the Daytona race. They put themselves on that yellow line and pretty much controlled the pack with pushes, and it kept cars from just being able to get the run to the outside lane. And the difference is tonight, though, is they have a third car that's not here. Jonathan Smith was in Daytona, but Smith is not here tonight, so you just got the 2 cars here working together. And if you go back to that race in Daytona, I know I keep bringing it up, but the third car was the car in the outside lane and was controlling that lane almost per se the whole entire night. But tonight, obviously, just 2 cars running that bottom lane as Terrell tries to get that push from Leo to the front here. Leo gets the lead, and just like that, McCorder now back to the middle lane, trying to get back to the front. Terrell actually leading that lap in the end. I mean, you get a run, you got to take it. That's the way these cars kind of move with that. You see that little wicker bill that's on top of the car. That little piece right there creates so much drag that it opens up the air, and the car behind you just is allowed to just drive right up to the back bumper of the other car. And when you get a run like that, it just literally makes the move and is able to go around the other car with such a fast run. Oh, contact, and Whitley's going to get turned right in front of the field. Somebody with a bump draft gone wrong, and half the field's going to get wadded up here. Lewis involved. I see Justin Thompson involved. Nick Terrell, Davis Warren. Whitley with damage to the nose. Oh, this is going to create some madness in chat. Lap 31. The big one strikes here at the virtual Talladega Superspeedway. And let's see what happens. Looks like Terrell comes down into Miles. Oh, Miles gets turned into the wall. So does Ethier. Weeks. Who is that to slam the wall? Rosenberg. The 8 of Heller gets turned. I mean, I'm seeing at least 10 cars. Mike Husby involved. The 49 Ethier's torn up. Heller's going Kyle Busch here into turn 1 and 2 apron. As chaos ensues. You know what? Did the bump from Weeks maybe push Terrell down a little bit there as Miles kind of moves up slightly? Hall gets into the back of Thompson as the 49 goes around. There's Melnick getting clobbered by the 70. Let's add the 82 to the list. I am counting at least 15 cars in this wreck. Let's see. Not counting the ones up ahead here. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, there's this 15 right here in this little pack. Spun around and stuff. So we could probably up that number to 20. I mean, this was big. And the one thing you're going to hear people say, well, why are we pushing going to the corner? Well, the most run you're going to have on a car is going to the corner. It's because you have all this road here. It's straight pretty much, and you're gaining as you're under throttle, right? So your biggest run is going to come right here. So there's bumps, and bumps, and bam, into the corner. And thankfully it wasn't in the corner when this happened. But that's what you get. Let's go on board with Dylan Rosenberg. Unfortunately, he gets a lot of damage in this. Kyle Ethier, the pole sitter. Try with Mike Husby as this wreck breaks out in front of him. As everybody piles up right into the field here, Husby tries to check up, and he's doing good so far to the grass. Here comes Melnick and makes contact with him, so it's a lazy slide. So, again, just nowhere to go in this wreck. We'll have to get an official count on cars. But there's a lot of damage to be fixed as we're about to come back to the green here at lap 34. 35 laps in the books as the green back out. Joseph McWhorter, Brad Delph, Nick Leo, Jake Vanoski, and now Sean Dunaway, your top 5. The Cat car hanging out there in the outside lane. This is the kind of race now when you get cars damaged like this. It sets up the upset race. You get that car that might not necessarily be the best car in the race, but ends up going to victory lane. But that caution definitely playing out from the 9 of Casey Carrington as he's able to get some more damage fixed. He's 19th and hanging on to the back of the pack. I can still see some damage on the car from there. But this is another great opportunity. We haven't had a chance to do this in a little bit, so we're going to be quiet here and let you guys turn it up here from Talladega. Leo getting pushed out to the front there is McWhorter. Craig Martin there in that 22 car. There was Vanoski, who's up there with the 14 of Delph. The 49 of Sean Cassidy up here. Kyle Hall now in this battle too. Complete the 100-mile mark. It was Thompson Designs 249. We got the virtual Talladega Superspeedway. 3 cautions so far, including the big one that just triggered off a moment ago. The hardest part about a race like this is putting yourself back in the mindset after seeing that big wreck. You're like, all right, got to reset and go. And look at Henning here as he gets this big run up the middle lane. You kind of got to eliminate that wreck out of your mind if you're not involved, and put yourself back in position to go or whatnot to get yourself up to the front here. You know, it's a very easy trick to do, is to think, okay, now I can go to the front and race, but in the end a wreck breaks out and you're still in trouble. As 12 of Dillon going to get out of the line and move to the back with Husby back there. Yeah, I don't have an official count for that wreck, but yeah, I think half the field's a pretty good way of putting it there from Race Fan 1973. As Miles comes to pit road, he's got a lot of damage on his car. It looks like still, though, 24 cars back on the track. However, a lot of them with damage. So like Fluger, Thompson, Carrington, Heller, a whole lot of these guys have lost the draft with the damage on their cars. You can see where they're all kind of hanging out back here you know, not by choice, Davis Warren, that's a modified. He should be racing down the road at the dirt track. By the way, that 45 car is Austin Bloom. Remember, he was damaged earlier. Got passed like 2 or 3 times to go a lap down. He's 2 laps down right now. And he is up here now at the front of the pack. He got that nose pushed down. Has his speed back in that car. And has a chance to get himself back within being a lap down or even on the lead lap of this race. If he can get a couple more yellows or just do it the hard way. I mean, unfortunately, the Bill Elliott way is not going to win a race this year because with the super speedway package and tapered spacers or restrictor plates, whatever they run these days, you can eliminate the whole just being able to blow the pack away and drive away and come back around and unlap yourself again. Just ain't possible. So, as Tobin Keefe off the pace in that Pennzoil car. So, again, this field knocked down a pretty good amount now by that big wreck. Big shout out to Harpoon Design, of course, for sponsoring the series. The All-American Cup Series presented by Harpoon Design as Chris Lewis has now come to pit road. Not sure if he is blown up, but his chance to get up there in a top 3 finish at a super speedway up in smoke, unfortunately, for the 111 car. Kyle Hall in the 11th position, right there behind Cassidy as we come up near the halfway point of this race already. Sun's starting to try to make an appearance. Appreciate the viewers who have checked us out here this evening. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, please, as always. Always very thankful to see the best viewers come out each night to be a part of the stream. If it's either to chat with me or to pick on me or to watch some good racing. You usually can get it all in one night. Ride with Hall there, the Florida driver. As the Bass Pro number 7 of Vanoski going to go to the front. For a lot of these cars that damaged up in this wreck that happened, a lot of those was cars that were up near the top of the points. And when I look at that 73 hanging out there trying to get the lead now with Barkuski pushing, you can't help but think this is the perfect night for him to gain some of those points back after the missed race earlier decision due to some issues from a suspension and stuff during the series. And he entered tonight only 32 points back. And now if he could lead laps and maybe go to victory lane for a second time on the super speedways, could sit all of a sudden within 20 points, maybe, if not closer. But obviously still plenty of things that can happen. as Terrell goes a lap down. JT joining us in chat. So halfway officially complete now. 47 laps in the books, 47-ish to go. This Thompson Designs 249 here at the Talladega Superspeedway. And you see the guys running out there in the front. Gives us a chance. We haven't shown off the schedule. What we have left in the season. After finishing Road Atlanta. Thank you, Casey, by the way, for crossing out the races. So, going to black lines in them. We've done them. Talladega tonight. Iowa Speedway next Friday night. Dover on the 3rd, and then the final race at the Old Atlanta Motor Speedway. So 3 races to go after tonight. The points race getting tighter and tighter, especially after the big wreck that just happened. And it's going to come down to what could be the last lap of the Old Atlanta Motor Speedway on the 10th next week. And JT, you must be here next Friday. Don't you not show up on me. And you see they're going to come up on the 9 of Carrington and put him a lap down. Super Speedway racing down to a lot of luck in the end. Yeah, you got to put your car in the right position, and part of that creates your luck too. I mean, if you can get yourself to the front of the field where you see McWhorter in that match, chances are you're not going to be in the wreck. But then you go back and Mark Whitley's like, oh, hang on a second. I was leading my pack, and I got spun around, which is a fair point. So it's like, man, where do you want to be? And this is where I continue to this day. I'll debate it with anybody. We'll say the safest car for me in a pack, my opinion, is all the way back there where James Silvers is in that 17 car. And I've tried to explain it, and I will do my best to explain it again here. So where I'm sitting here from the 17 car of Silvers, I can see a majority of what I need to see in front of me. And here's the biggest thing to watch is the rear view mirror. You notice there's not a single car back there now, because they went passing Dylan Rosenberg. Rosenberg obviously now just towing the pit road. But right here in the corner, I can see everything. I can see right in front of me, and I can see way out. One of the rules, it's Smith's 5 keys of defensive driving. If you're a truck driver or something like that, you know this. You were taught this. Number 1, aim high in steering, which means you look out 10 to 15 seconds. In my case, in a pack like this, you look out about 5 to 10 seconds. I can see the blue car up front of McWhorter. I can see the outside line where Vanoski is kind of falling back a little bit there. You see everybody kind of doing a good job holding their lane, right? You see here a little bit of gap there in the middle as you see the 19 of Husby swerving in front of you. But you kind of have control right here. And when I say kind of, is all you got to do is hit the brakes if a wreck breaks out and just hope that one car that you see in the mirror now doesn't hit you. Where if you're the front car, you have no control of what happens behind you. Somebody could run up there and run in the back of you and spin you out, or somebody could get hit from below or above and hit you. Here, the only thing you control, or you don't control, is if somebody behind you comes up to you, but the nearest car is back a few seconds, it looks like. So if they wreck in front of you, it's on you. Get on the brake, stop the car, whatever you got to do for nobody to hit you, and you carry on. That's my point of view of this. Obviously, others think this is boring, and I totally understand that point. And though I get angry when a race goes green flag like all the way through, and I sit back here and I lose the pack because of pitting and so on and so forth, and yeah, I do get angry about it, but you know what, as they say in sports, whatever you win by, if it's being a three-point shooting basketball team, or if it's being running 4 verts in football the whole entire time, or if it's the home run ball in baseball, You live by it, you're going to die by it. And that's one of those where on a super speedway, I live by it, and I'm going to die by it. It either works, or it doesn't work. One example of that, come watch me Sunday at noon. I'm going to run the Talladega NIS race. It'll be my, third start of the season. And I think it's like my fourth oval season long, but you'll see exactly what I'm doing. I'll be riding right back there in the back. And what I've been told from another series that actually is running at Talladega in the next-gen car, some changes on the car that are going to make the racing really interesting in NIS on Sunday. So, got some learning to do. As Terrell hangs a left, I think he's going to call it a night. A lot of cars just kind of realizing they're not fast and just getting off the track. So we went green about lap number 34-ish. We're 20 laps into the run. We're probably going to see pit stops here very shortly for the leaders of this race. You'll see at least 2 more stops probably, if not 1. Depends on when they come to pit road here. These cars might want to get single filed out because they're busy racing each other. And now it's the point where you just got to hold your lane here. Number 1 rule being a lap car, make yourself predictable so people know where you're going to be and let the leaders go around. In that situation, you had the 8 and the 34 push each other on the bottom, and then the 54, well, back gets wrecked right there at the top of the track. Always remember, when you're a lap car, it's your job to hold a lane, and this is anywhere, road course, oval, whatever. It's your choice. It's your job to hold a lane. It's the leader's job in the end to make the pass. In order for them to make the pass, you have to hold your lane. If you're wobbling up and down the road, it's going to become very difficult very quickly. So 55 laps complete out of the 94 here in Talladega. Appreciate everybody joining us here tonight for the Thompson Designs 249 on the Captain Esports Network. Joseph McOrder looking to pick up where he left off in Daytona with a win. He's got a lot of drivers either looking for their first series win or their first win of the season right here behind him. I mean, a who's who of cars. Jake Vanoski, the 45 car on the outside lane, Austin Bloom. He is 2 laps down. Trying to get a lap back to Hardway here, but Craig Martin, the 22 car outside lane, Brandon Barkuski, returning to the series tonight. Potentially a one-off here. If not, going to race the rest of the season. We'll have to see. Sean Cassidy in that Georgia Tech number 49 car, the Ramblin' Wreck. Nick Leo pretty good at the super speedway stuff. He's there in that 69 car, 4th car inside lane. So a lot of cars, again, looking to go to victory lane here for the first time. And the super speedway playing the great equalizer tonight. Mike Mallon there riding behind the Catmobile. I don't know if he's swerving on purpose or if he's saying hi to the crowd through his car. That could be interesting if so. Not that people have never done that in stream, but yes, it has happened. I've had plenty of races where I'll say, hey, so-and-so, do this, because I know they're watching, and they'll do it. And it's like, well, there you go. Oh, here we go. Pit stops and around goes Leo. He and the 26 of Henning get turned. Are on the apron right now, so no caution. Did somebody not pit right? We'll have to go back and see that here in a second, but first, let's show the pit stops. Thank you, Daryl. Appreciate your donation, sir. As everybody pulls away either two tires or fuel only or whatnot, as they'll try to get organized up. And now the 17 of Silvers goes to the outside wall. And more spinning. Kyle Hall goes for a spin. Carrington's going to get clipped. Oh, the pit road follies. And somehow we stay green in this whole thing. As here comes that pack out of pit road. It just got out first. And they should easily take the lead here with how disorganized that pack was coming to pit road just now. And now we're 3 wide on the apron back here. What in the world? All right, let's while these guys catch up to each other, because eventually the pack will catch each other here. Let's break down this whole mess. Let's start with the first wreck here, if we should. So right there, Terrell gets turned off the 49, and 26 just does its own little dee-di-do. Too much rear brake potentially in that car. And we come back around, and then this happens. The 12 moves to 17, and it runs over the 87. I think the 12 lost its brakes or something. There's the 9 getting doored. So the whole CX2 team getting thumped around there a little bit. And then wait till they come off of pit road here in a second. Let's put it on Mike Cusby and watch he and Kyle Hall and these guys leave the pits. Because Brandon Barkuski is actually, you know what? He might be the better view to go to here. Here comes Barkuski in the pack. Passing all the cars on pit road. Huge run here. 29 chops his nose. Checks up there. Does a good job. And all of a sudden, the 87 and 19 are going to come up here on the track. And, well, that's not going to make Barkuski happy. I mean, there is the deal where they obviously, yes, you merge onto the back straightaway, but you got to merge with caution. You can't just throw the car up onto the track. If you see a pack coming and they're all in the bottom lane, you got to stay down. Unfortunately for Barkuski, he's now lost the draft. He's back here with Heller and Husby, Kyle Hall, and these guys. And at the same time, the car on the track does have to potentially, if they can. I mean, there might have been a car to Barkuski's high side there that kept him from allowing the other car up on, or to making a move up above the cars coming onto the track. Okay, let's go back to it again and watch. You got this whole entire outside part of the track to the right. The inside of the 49 to make a pass. 29, okay, he does whatever he does here. You got Mark Whitley on the top side. So right now, Barkuski cannot move up. And Kyle Hall goes up a lane and a half. And it literally shuts the door on Barkuski. He couldn't do anything. He had to check up, and a great job by him to do that. Oh, and then, then they hit each other here. That's interesting. So now you got, what, 6 cars in this lead pack? McWhorter, Vinoski, the 29 of Mallon, Mark Whitley, Sean Cassidy, and then the lap car of Austin Bloom is in this lead pack. Then you got another pack back behind them, about 4.5 seconds, where there is Christopher Heller with Barkuski, the teammates there are 2511, Mike Husby, the 01 of Sean Dunaway, and then there's the 34, Stephen Melnick. A lot of these cars in this pack are a lap down. Barkuski just trying to push his teammate there in the 8 to that pack, and they are slowly catching him. And then you go back to the pack here with Justin Thompson, Victor Pfluger, Colin Curlis, Brad Delph in this pack. And Craig Martin trying to hold on. Everybody else is pretty much spread out. Nick Terrell on pit road. And what has turned into a Talladega mess. Interesting racing, to say the least. And appreciate all the viewers watching tonight. In race number 11 of this All-American Cup Series presented by Harpoon Design. What this 45 and 29 have done, they're allowing, well, I say this, but now it looks like the 25 has lost a little bit of momentum in that front pack. I was going to say that side-by-side's allowing these guys behind him to catch up, but not so much. And here they go around Nick Leo, and here's why. The field's separating out. I mean, for these cars to catch that field up front, they have to get single file, and they need to stay tight. I mean, Barkuski's all up on Heller. Husby with a little bit of space. And then you got Dunaway back here, who's, what, about a car length back. I mean, Melnick needs to be all up on that 01, pushing him down the straightaways. Hi, everybody. By the way, thanks for watching. Darryl Young, Kyle Ethier, Brantley Roden. So everybody pitted at 59, which was about 25 laps. So we're going to be just shy, likely making it to the finish of this race on fuel. So I'm assuming you're going to see a lot of guys maybe split this race in half, depending on, again, what kind of communication you might have with the rest of the field in your pack. this is the situation that presents itself. You go back to a lot of old school NASCAR fans can go back and watch this. That 2003 Talladega NASCAR Busch Series race, now Xfinity Series. Lap number, was it 3, I think? Kenny Wallace gets into the back of the 2 of Johnny Sauter, who gets spun in front of the field, ends up on his lid, and all the biggest wreck in that series history of 27 cars getting wiped out. And for the next 100, and if I remember correctly, it was a 117 lap race at that time. 110 laps of that race. We literally had debris cautions, and we had 3 cars break away from the field. Jason Keller winning that race. It's the way this product is. And people can hate it. People can love it. To me, it's just racing. And of course, everybody was like at that time, man, we can't have that happen again in the Sunday race. Well, what happened in the Sunday race the next day? Ryan Newman has a tire problem on lap 3 and causes the big one in turn 1. It was like, oh boy. Yeah, see now with this field getting spread out here in the second pack, Barkowski has fallen back to 6 seconds now behind Heller. And look, I mean, you see the 01 jumping out of line. That is killing the momentum. The 01 needs to stay behind the 19 and just push. Back here, Thompson, these guys, they're doing a pretty decent job here. If they can keep pushing each other, they get up to this other pack, they might be able to help organize it a little bit better. And trust me, I'm just Monday morning quarterbacking up here what I see. Again, next week it is the Iowa Speedway for the All-American Cup Series presented by Harpoon Design. 3 races left after tonight. And the way it's looking right now, the driven by Harpoon Design team is looking to make up some points here tonight, with McWhorter leading Whitley right there in the 3rd car inside the lane after his 2 rough races. Rode Atlanta, of course. And then the week before, I know he had some computer issues, got involved in a wreck, and just everything going bad for him as he's been the driver to beat most of this season again. So you're in the window now. When do you come to pit road here? Now, one thing I will point out from my experience of running super speedway races, and it seems to be the trend, if you have a group of guys that you can lead with and can trust on a super speedway track, then as soon as the pit road opens window-wise to get you to the finish on fuel, you get that group, you come to pit road and get out there and push. 9 times out of 10, you get out there and you start pushing each other, you will get ahead if you're behind, or you will pull away farther from the pack behind you if you're able to execute that move. And not to mention the caution comes out, guess who the leaders are? The cars that pitted first. But of course there's some pros and there's some cons to that whole situation. The bad is if you end up with somebody having a speeding penalty or overshooting or pit stall or having kinds of issues, then that loses you a car out of the pack and could slow the pack down, or you end up by yourself, and so many different things can happen. So it's a risk in the end, but one that if it works out, you pay off really well with what you're trying to get out of it. So they're come up on Kyle Hall and others here, Nick Leo. Silver's there in the 17 cars. These guys push away, trying to just get whatever they can get. All right, so there you go. The third pack has now caught the second pack. Problem is now they are 11 seconds back. At one point being 4 seconds back. Now part of that too could be that damage on that 8 car is holding them up too. So as you see Thompson and those guys go flying by here, those cars will probably lock up here, and let's see what kind of ground they can make now. This could be very interesting here. As Thompson's had this crew running kind of an old school single file line when it comes to iRacing. This is a lane that I remember, I don't know, I forget which tire build it was, but there was a time period where if you ran what they called the qualifying line at one point on iRacing, you would get max gain, and that's kind of what they're running here, is this old qualifying line you used to run, where you would drive it like a speedway, like you're at Charlotte or Texas. You bring it up here to the wall, drive it down the banking into turn 1, down on the yellow line here, and let the car kind of drift out so you're carrying the speed and momentum. And it's working. It's down to 10.5 seconds now. You know, you see now this pack forming up with lap cars and leaders all involved. So if you're in the 49 car and you're in the 7 car and maybe the 29 even, are you finding a way to get to the channels on Discord? If you're not already in the same channel, saying, all right, this is what we need to do. Because again, part of this kind of racing too is you got to know what's around you and know that, okay, you got the 73 and the 77 are teammates, and you kind of got to put yourself in the book of, okay, if I make this move, would they go with me? If the answer is yes, then you can work with them. If the answer is no, then, well, you know what you got. Pick your teammates and pick who's going to work with you and who you think you can work with, and you got to trust them. A little competition, as DW used to say. And as I see, Vinoski is the second car in between a driven by Harpoon Design sandwich. It kind of limits what the 7 can do, and that's where, if he gets the 49 on his side, then at least he has somebody potentially to work with. Not saying it's going to, you know, help make the right move or whatnot, but at least opens it up. Second pack down to 9 seconds now. I mean, there is time. They can get there. Pull up the timing over here to the left. You can see who the first pack is, and you can see who is in the second pack. Look right at the 6th position where Justin Thompson is. You see the pack 9 seconds back. You see the front 5 cars all in that lead pack. That is real time as they go here, as Melnick goes to pit road. And here come the leaders to pit road. Oh, good job by Whitley to avoid the 29 who was coming in hot. Oh, and Vanowski's going to spin into the inside wall. See if we get fuel only here. Tires, potentially maybe 2. Just to launch off pit road. Looks like fuel only for everybody. Now, remember I said about the early pitting and then getting yourself organized? With everything that just happened, it is literally the 26, and now you've got the 73 and the 77 by themselves. You've got the 49 if they want to check up a little bit, but that's going to hurt them by doing that. And then you got the 7 a little ways back now, too. It's such a game. It's such a fine line. Unfortunately, I've been on both sides of it. I know what it feels like. Fluger pushing Thompson. Brad Delph, Craig Martin, Dunaway, your top 5 now. These guys should be coming to pit road at any minute. Question is, are they organized up? Let's see what they can do here, as it's been pit stop follies the whole entire race. Barkowski locks it up a little bit. This looks a lot smoother. Now the problem is getting to your pit stall. Everybody good so far. Now let's watch how they get off pit road, because this will determine where the 77 and 73 sit. Here they come off turn 4. You can see them in the background here. There they go through the tri-oval now. And you see they did have some cars with them, as that 49 did catch back up. The 26 is there. 7 trying to catch up. This track very sensitive to that yellow line, by the way. If you go above it before you get off pit road, it will be a penalty. Ask me how I know. Thompson, 4 tires on that pit stop for some reason. Craig Martin might have did 2 tires, but a lot of these guys fuel only here. So this is your leader now. Mick Horter with 7 laps to go and a pack of 5 cars. They've got 5.4 seconds over Brad Delph. And these guys are still trying to get organized back here. had a smooth entry, but exit-wise, not so smooth. And you can tell there was just not much communication, it looks like, in that pack. Six to go. Your top four cars right there, battling for the win of this race. I'm pretty sure the 77 will not be leaving the bumper of the 73 during this finish. The question is, how do the 49 and 7 work together? Who's the 26 back there, who, by the way, is a lap car now of Stephen Henning? Who does he work with? Or does he just kind of stay out of it and let the four settle themselves? I've seen it all in that picture too. Second back to Canada Pit Road had such an organized stop that unfortunately it fell apart at the end. And this is where you wonder if the 77 and 73 maybe even told the 49 and 7, hey, this is what we're doing at this stop. If you want to join us, and we could settle it amongst ourselves. And that's what they did here, where the other pack just came to pit road and everybody did different stuff, and it broke it apart. I mean, there's so many little, if you will, tricks that you can do. In this kind of race. I mean, the way you're able to communicate with your opponents and so on and so forth can make it a race where, again, you got now 6 cars in the lead pack here, but 4 of them are racing for the actual lead. And believe it or not, the 45 and 26 are racing for position back here behind them, as that's going to be a battle for the 18th and 19th position. Unfortunately, 2 laps down for the both of them. Three to go. And of course, if you're the Harpoon guys, you're like, just get back to the white flag. Get back to the white flag, please. Two laps to go. And here's where I talked about working together. Vinovsky just jumps up to the outside by himself. Not sure if I agree with that move. I'd be working with the 49, but that's him. As these two are just going to push each other away from these two battling for third. As we're going to come to the white flag, unless Vinovsky knows something in the side draft here. White flag, final lap. Now they're hitting each other. Never thought hitting each other might help each other here. Here comes Cassidy to the top side. Vanowski's not close enough to him, though. Here comes a late run. McWhorter has to throw a block. He's going to get spun. Jake Vanowski pulls off the win as the Harpoon Design guys wreck. Oh, I have never. I am absolutely stunned. But an accidental, contact through 3 and 4 turns out to work out for the 49 and 7 to get them to the outside, and all hell breaks loose. We can definitely put this in the upset category right here. I mean, the only question I have is, and I'll have to ask, I guess Whitley will be the one to ask here when the interview gets here. Was McWhorter shocked by the late run there on the outside lane? As Vanowski parks it, who's back there doing burnouts? But let's go back and watch the finish here, because I mean, I literally thought Vanowski was making a move. I was definitely questioning, and then the contact right here. I'm like, my thought is this race is over. The teammates are going to push to the win. And yep, humble pie for me again. Not the first time, won't be the last. Cassidy crosses the line second. Now, I'm sure they'll clear that penalty for that happening. I'm not sure how that rule is going to work. I mean, if you're the 49, you're not checking up coming to the finish. But it's almost like something happened that pulled the 77-73 back. I was the side force that strong? I mean, let me go back a little bit further here. All right, so the contact's going to happen on the back. I mean, you would think these two are single file the whole way up front. So with all this argy-bargy or whatever you want to call it happening, you would think those two just drive away. The 45 gets towards the back of the 70s, and it's all of a sudden this inside line gets pulled back. I'm not one that's passed science classes like that, so I don't know the answers. I need some science people to help me out. All right, let's show the final results. Bonoski wins it by 1.5 seconds. It's Scott Whitley second, but we'll have to see with the admin if Sean Cassidy gets second or not. I'll have to check on that. Whitley finishes second or third. This is unofficially. McCorder, Husby, Fluger, Brad Delf 6th, Craig Martin 7th, Barkuski 8th, Sean Dunaway 9th, and Colin Curlis either 10th or 11th. Malin, Thompson, Cassidy, Heller, Silvers. And let's look at the rest of the finishing order. Kyle Hall, Steve Melnick, Bloom, Henning, Dillon, Carrington, Leo, Warren, Terrell, Tobin, Keefe. Unfortunately, a rough finish for him. Rosenberg, Lewis, Miles, Weeks, Ethier, and George. The last of the 31 finishers, or racers, I should say at this point. As usually the top 3 are over here in it looks like they're giving it to Cassidy, so I'm gonna pull Cassidy up like he's the second place finisher here. So let's get Whitley up here, who finishes in the third position this evening. Obviously, Mark, you and the team had it kind of locked down there. I'm kind of baffled by the last lap of how you two got pulled back somehow. It seemed like you guys lost speed up front. I don't know. But anyways, you finished third. I know it's not the win you guys wanted, though.
Yeah, honestly, the whole goal tonight was just to finish the race with a car that was mostly intact. And thankfully, the one kind of big wreck we were involved in, I somehow managed to keep the car from hitting anything too hard. And it didn't hurt it too bad, but it was hurt a little bit. I think that was part of the issue on that last lap. I still had about, 15 seconds of damage. And so it's like when I had somebody directly behind me like that, I could suck up really good, and it was like the car was normal. But then when they got away from my bumper, I couldn't suck up Joe's back bumper the way I needed to, and we just couldn't keep the run we needed to. And then last lap there, and we were coming off of 4, and they were getting a run, and I told him, it's like, hey, you better go up there if you want to try to win, because I ain't got nothing for you right now. Because the whole last run, I had my foot, I never lifted, and I barely was able to bump him every now and then. So. Just one of those things. You go up there to try to block, and it's the last lap. So, thought it was, just last lap racing. We all still finished top 4, so nobody got really screwed out of it. Really glad to finish this and get a top finish after the last couple weeks. Last week, the whole internet and the whole damn city went out, so we couldn't. We missed 2/3 of the race and put us behind the 8 ball, and I think this gets us back in a very good spot to challenge for the championship.
Yeah, it's obviously a tough situation there, but to be able to make up those points, not to mention team points wise tonight, obviously getting your top 2 cars or your 2 cars in the top 4, obviously is good for the team itself too. So a lot of positives to take out of this, as you said.
Oh yeah, anytime you come to Talladega or Daytona or even the new Atlanta, like you come there with a top 5, if you leave with a top 5, you're more than thrilled, because it's you've seen it all night. I mean, these cars, even with this new setup we've been running, I mean, they're still kind of wedges. So if you get hit too hard, all of a sudden you're facing the wrong direction and you're in a big mess. So just happy, thrilled, excited. Never been so excited for third place. Except for probably my third place I had here. So yeah, just a lovely race. Had a substitute spotter on the stand, Roger. Thank him for helping us through all the stuff, and thanks to Harpoon Design for their awesome paint schemes, and thanks for you putting on a great broadcast. Should be fun to go back and watch. I know there was a part of that I was a little bit nervous coming through the field again, but we made it through.
And as I look at the points right now, we now have 4 guys within 11 points of the points lead going to Iowa next week in 3 races to go. So I think it's about to get really good.
Oh yeah, I think it's only going to get better from here. Going to keep heating up, and we'll see how we can finish.
Absolutely, man. Well, hey, great job. Send some shout outs.
Yeah, like I said, huge shout out Harpoon Design, Brantley. He's my normal spotter. He couldn't make it tonight, but he does awesome paint jobs. Check him out at harpoondesign.com. Or if you want to check out some of the other stuff he's done, I think he's getting close to 2,000 paints on Trading Paint. So check him out over there. And huge shout out to my teammate Joe, the rest of us at Driven Motorsports. John's normally here; he couldn't make it tonight. Just huge shout out to the league. Great green flag run at the end of the race. Big shout out to Casey putting on the league, and for you broadcasting. Like I said, it should be fun to go back and watch.
Appreciate it, man. Hey, great job tonight.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mark Whitley finishing in the 3rd position here this evening. And a big shout out to him. Congratulations. As you can hear the relief almost, if you will, and happiness at the same time. As it's the cool part about super speedway racing is the chance to talk to some drivers that maybe normally don't have the best luck or might not be the fastest people in the world, but the great equalizer is the super speedway. And that's where Sean Cassidy joins us here, finishing in the 2nd position. Sean, obviously, congratulations. I couldn't help but think during those last few laps I'm like, okay, I'm thinking he and the 7 might work together here, but then he makes the move to the outside, and I'm like, well, this is about to get interesting. But somehow it all played out.
Yeah, I was trying to wait till the last lap out of 2 to make the move to the high side, and when he went early, I was like, no, this is. And then he side drafted and held on there, and I thought, oh well, and if I can clear him in the trival, I might have a shot if he'll stay with me, because we worked together on the high side earlier in the race, and got to the front. So I said, and he stuck with me, and I thought I was gonna have a good chance there when I got side drafted Whitley and got up to the 73, but then when the 73 came off the front and the 77 up to the top on me, I was like, well, we're out of options now. Just go.
Yeah, you can't check up at that moment, but was there any communication at all between you and the 7 or any of the guys there as you guys worked together? Because obviously you had teammates in front of you.
No, yeah, I didn't have any. I had the 45 was asking if I wanted to have any help. So, I knew he was lapped down, so he didn't want to get too much in the fray, so he kind of stayed back once the 7 made his move. My teammate was Kyle Hall, and we got separated way early in the day, so I was a lone wolf there just trying to figure it out. So I figured the 7 was probably by himself as well, I thought. So I thought either we'd work together or one of us would try to pull out on top, and it ended up being both of those happening.
Yeah, and somehow the contact on the back straightaway of the door banging there kind of worked itself out to put you out in front of him, and you two worked together for the last, quarter mile of the race or whatever, and it worked out in the end. But, man, congratulations on the 2nd place finish. Send some shout-out to whoever you'd like to.
Oh, yeah, Kyle Hall for inviting me to the league here and running with him. We're old neighbors from 30 years ago, so it's fun to connect back with him on here, and just appreciate what they do here and you guys and all the whole show here.
Side question real quickly. What's the story behind the Ramblin' Wreck paint scheme?
That's where I went to school, so that's the alma mater.
Nothing wrong with that. I just figured I'd ask. So nothing wrong with Georgia Tech. I remember I've driven past it about 100 times driving through Atlanta. So
well, you probably didn't drive. You probably were stopped next to it. But yeah.
No, actually, I don't.
Atlanta.
It was usually later in the evening as I was driving to the airport from Gainesville. So
that's where it works. So that's funny. I work up in Gainesville.
Yeah. So that's interesting. You poor thing. Yeah, needless to say, though, great job and congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Sean Cassidy, 2nd place finisher here tonight. And, that leads us to our winner tonight, who gets his first win in All-American and one of the bigger upsets, and that's what this Super Speedway does. Jake Vanoski in the 7 car. I'm going to be honest with you, with about 4 laps to go, I'm in my head like, what in the bleep is he thinking? But it worked out.
Yes, it did.
Talk about the move, man. Talk about the strategy behind the call, and obviously getting the 49 to help you there at the end and finding your way first across the line.
Yeah, with 2 to go, we were running a pretty single file. I decided to make my move on the backstretch in case no one went with me. I know there's a lap car in that pack. I wasn't sure what they were going to do. So I made the move high. No one went with me. I figured if it failed, I at least can get back in line and have another shot with 1 to go. But the side draft was just so hard on these cars that it just held me there. And I ended up getting a little bit of a run actually down the backstretch. And I remember in the beginning of the race, I didn't qualify so well, so I started kind of in the back, and we were ripping that top line for a while, and brought it right to the front. And I knew the top line was definitely the way to go. So on the final lap, coming out of 4, I had such a huge run from laying back that I just cut it up high and was hoping the side draft a little bit with that run would at least give me a shot with a drag race on the front stretch. And I saw the block in the front, and they all started checking up, and I just kept my foot right into it to the line.
Yeah, it worked out for you, man. Obviously, what was your first thoughts as you see riding behind Cassidy there as you know, he makes contact with the 73 and you see everything kind of open up for you?
Excitement. These super speedways, I usually always run good, but usually always end up in the tri-oval crash or always make the wrong move, dive low, and as soon as the seas parted and I saw no one was coming up or coming high, it's got my foot into it. I heard the all clear, and I'm like, this is finally.
Well, great job, man. Congratulations on getting your first win here in the series. I know, obviously, it's the equalizer, as I say here at this 2.66 mile track. People might not be the fastest or the luckiest or whatever, but sometimes this track will pick its winners and decide who goes to victory lane, and it's your turn tonight. So send some shout-outs to whoever you like to.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd like to give a shout-out to you up in the broadcast booth. You do a phenomenal job every week. Put on a great show. All-American Cup Series for allowing me to race here. Casey puts on a great league. Joe does a great job race control, keeps everything clean. My brother, he was my spotter tonight, kept me through it all, so I appreciate it. Couldn't do it without him. And Chevrolet for bringing a fast car. It's good to be in victory lane.
Absolutely, man. Congratulations. A win they can't take from you. So go celebrate it and go enjoy it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You too. Jake Vinoski, the winner here tonight in the Tracker Boats Bass Pro Shop number 7 car, as he gets his first career win here in what was a wild race at Talladega Superspeedway. It's why that people love coming here, or they just absolutely dread coming to this track. And it's because anything can happen, and it did so tonight. We had a big wreck. We had green flag pit stops. We had carnage coming to pit road. We had carnage leaving pit road. We had people everywhere. Yeah, it all happened here this evening, and a first-time winner in the end with Jake Vinoski going to victory lane here at the Talladega Superspeedway. We'll do a little race recap here as we leave the broadcast, so if you didn't see any of the action, you can hang out here and enjoy that. But next Friday night, Iowa Speedway for the All-American Cup Series. And we'll be ready for you at about 8:15, depending on how my nap goes. Literally. We'll get on the air and ready to go here. But appreciate Justin Thompson, of course, with Thompson Designs, sponsoring tonight's Thompson Design 249 in the race. Of course, the viewers, the racers, the admins for allowing me to be a part of the series. Harpoon Design, the main sponsor of the series. Obviously appreciate what Brantley and them do, and being a part of the series here for season number 7. To Casey Carrington, All-American Cup Series, appreciate those guys. Also, next league broadcast will be Sunday for the Captain Esports Network. We might be on the air for something tomorrow, but it won't be a league race or anything like that, and I will throw a special Sunday edition afternoon that I will be broadcasting myself racing at Talladega, likely in the Next Gen NIS race, which is at noon Eastern. So if you're not doing anything Sunday, come join me. So before the actual Talladega race, which goes on later that afternoon. So wow, that was wild. And I'm gonna go take a deep breath, get some food, and find a way to sleep tonight. So enjoy the rest of your Friday evening and your weekend.
It's
Always
copyrighted,
remember,
bro.
that's Casey. I keep doing it. This is like the one league I do that. Hold on, Casey. Stand by, buddy. This is just a game. It's iRacing. See ya.
This copyrighted broadcast may not be reproduced, reused, or retransmitted in any form without the authorized written consent of Captain Esports Network. Captain would like to thank all of his loyal fans for your continued support, and he hopes you enjoyed today's broadcast.
The following is a special presentation. From the Captain Esports Network.